Hi, everybody. Welcome to Earth Angels Rise Thrive Academy. I am so excited to be launching our learning journey together with you. We have a really big group, don't we? I have been amazed at the number of change agents that have been attracted to our group and have found us and have joined us on the journey. So, welcome. I am really excited to be diving into our learning module. We're going to do the first learning module together, which is about optimizing your mind. Why do we start there? Well, let me start and tell you a little bit of my story. Then we're going to go through some of the learning. I'm going to tell you about the exercise, and then we will be able to have discussion, and I'll be able to answer questions in the comments. So, when I had graduated college, I went to Princeton University. I played basketball there, and then I went on to play professional basketball in Brazil, England, and Sweden. Met my husband, David, who is a Nigerian in the United Kingdom. And then we moved back to the US in the year 2000. And soon thereafter, I ended up getting pregnant with our first child. And when our first child, Maggie, was born, we were told a couple months into her life that she might not walk, talk, or be normal. And my life was seemingly perfect. I was going up an amazing success ladder in the corporate world, climbing fast and furious, had really everything that I needed and wanted. And then getting that news caused me to really break down. Now, the people around me didn't realize that I was breaking down because I was really good at wearing I've got it all together mask. But deep inside, I was really suffering. And it was at that time that I came across a book, and one phrase in the book really struck me and was a turning point for me. And in the book, it said, in any given moment, you can choose a thought that is based in fear, or you can choose a thought that is based in love. And if you choose a thought that's based in fear, you're going to suffer. If you choose a thought that is based in love, you're going to experience a life of peace and joy and fulfillment. So that really had struck me because I was suffering. So I started to ask myself, what is going on inside me? Why am I suffering so much? And so that is when I started to look inside my mind. And I was honestly really shocked at what I saw because I had always considered myself an incredibly optimistic person. I was the cheerleader on the basketball court. I was the positive leader in the workplace. And I had no idea what was really going on in my mind because I had never looked. So what I discovered was fear, so much fear. I was afraid of my finances. I was afraid of the future of my marriage because my parents had been divorced. I was worried about everything, how my boss saw me, how others saw me. And then on top of that, I had so much self-judgment. My inner critic was so good at beating me up, terrorizing me about I'm not a good enough wife, I'm not a good enough mom, I'm not doing enough, I'm not moving fast enough. My inner critic was relentless. And then the other thing that I discovered was I really had a lot of past pain that I had never resolved in my life. So at first, like I said, I was shocked. I was horrified by what I saw because I didn't expect that I would have all this junk in my mind. But then, after the initial shock, I realized, wow, I just found so many opportunities to be able to transform my thinking and maybe begin to feel better. So what I literally did was I sat down and I started to observe my thinking, and I started to write my thinking down so that I could see what I was doing to myself. I could see what I needed to change, and I put it on paper. And then I went through this process over about a year period where I literally began to completely reconstruct my thinking. One thought at a time, I examined what I was thinking and I asked myself, if this isn't getting me the result that I want or the feeling that I want in my life, then what could I think that would get me that better feeling? So that's how the process started here. That is how I actually ended up finding my true calling of helping others with this, because I first needed to heal my own mind. And all of us as change agents, that is key for us. We have to heal ourselves. We have to do our inner cleanup work if we're going to be the most effective, powerful, unstoppable versions of ourselves in the world. And what I have found, because I've mentored positive change agents, earth angels, literally I have spent thousands of hours one-on-one and in groups with people just like you. And it is amazing to me how much pain and suffering exists in the minds of positive change agents. So the reason we're starting with optimizing the mind is because it's the greatest opportunity for almost all of us. And I can tell you that those of you who may have done this kind of work with me before, you're going to be amazed that now going in and doing some new observation this time around is going to help you discover even more possibilities. There are layers upon layers upon layers of old programming and thinking, societal paradigms, lack and limitation, things that we have just taken on without ever having questioned our thinking. And so I want to encourage you to go in just like all of us and look closely. I'm going to be doing the same thing with you. I study my mind constantly because I find more and more opportunities. In fact, I found one recently. I realized that I was trying to be perfect. And in trying to get it all right and have everything just right, I was getting in my own way. I was stopping myself from taking the bold steps of action that I wanted to take in the world. And listen, I've been doing this inner work for 15 years and I still found opportunities. So we will find opportunities. So here's the deal. Your mind is such a powerful tool. Notice I said it is a tool for you to use. So rather than allowing our minds to master, or maybe we should say enslave us, it's time for us to take back our power, to begin to harness the power of our mind, harness this tool that each one of us has. So during the day, you have about 50 to 70,000 thoughts. That is a lot of thinking, isn't it? And it's amazing because 95% of the thoughts that you think today, you thought the day before, and the day before that, and the day before that. Our thoughts are highly repetitive. And that's why this work is so cool, because once you start to see the patterns inside of you, you're gonna probably be able to narrow them down to one main piece of paper where you find all these opportunities, because the thoughts that are haunting you, they just repeat over and over. They're very predictable. And so that's why writing them down is very important, because you can begin to see just how interesting our minds are and how these thoughts can just run wild. So the key is to realize that we are not our thinking. No, we are the grand spirit within this physical body who has the ability to observe our thoughts. We are bigger than our mind. So we have this aspect of us, what I call the observer, that can look in, peek into our thinking and see what's going on inside of us. So when you begin to peek in and see, then you start to look for certain things. So what I have learned over the years is that there are 3 categories of thinking that cause me and other people the most pain and suffering. And so we're going to look for those 3 categories. The first category is your fears. What are you worried about all the time? What are you constantly thinking about in the future? Worried and fearful that something bad is going to happen. Write your fears down. Remember, a fear is a thought about something you do not want to have happen in your life. It's a negative visualization of a future occurrence. And usually we're taking our past experiences or disappointments and we're projecting that pain into the future. So first category you're going to begin studying this week are your fears. Watch for your fears and write them down. The second category that we're going to look at is what we call the voice of the inner critic. We're looking for all the self-judgment. Most of us have been told all the things that are wrong with us. We've been judged very harshly in our lives, maybe by parents, teachers, religious leaders, our society. We've been taught over and over by the people around us that something isn't quite right with us and that maybe we're not worthy or we're not valuable. And so this is the opportunity to look at the voice of your inner critic. Write down your self-judgment. Self-judgment is looking for what is wrong with us. And most of us beat ourselves up day after day, minute after minute, and that just feels awful. But the key is to start to become aware of this active inner critic inside of you, and what are those messages that this inner critic is telling you. The third area that we're going to observe this week is any past stories of pain that keep popping into your mind for some reason. Those are the ones that are, I would say, they're like knocking on the door of your consciousness saying, hey, maybe you want to take some time to heal me. And those types of thinking of the past that are still painful are draining our energy. It's almost like heaviness that we're carrying around, emotional baggage. So what we're doing this week is we are taking an inventory. So this first step of harnessing the power of your mind is to observe your mind and start to notice your patterns, to write them down, and to now take the inventory of those three categories: your fears, your self-judgment, and your past pains. Now, I want to encourage you. Do not go in to judge yourself even more, because you're going to find some stuff that's not that pretty. Go in instead with a spirit of curiosity. What is going on inside of me? What is the thinking that might be draining my energy? What are the opportunities for me to heal my mind, to reclaim my personal power, to transform myself to a whole new level? You're going to find lots of opportunities this week, and we're all doing this work together. And guess what? Every single person that I work with has some kind of thinking that they need to transform. So you're not alone in this. We're all in this together. We're all here to learn together. And the more that you open up and share, hey, the truth of what's going on, that is how we are going to heal this stuff. Imagine being a little bit more free of your fear. Imagine being a little kinder to yourself on your journey. Imagine letting some of that past pain go so that you could be more free and present in the moment. We can do this work together. So I want to encourage us as Earth Angels. My desire is that positive grassroots change agents, we as Earth Angels, can rise to the highest levels of our potential. Why is that important? Our world needs the best version of us. And as we rise and we heal ourselves, we then have the power to lift others and to show others the way by how we are in the world, that they too can heal and rise higher. You can only do that if you have done the work yourself authentically. So my challenge is to you this week, have fun with this. Take it seriously too, though. Do the work. Write down your thinking. It'll probably take you a couple of days to gather your insights, to write down those three categories of thinking. And then what I'm going to encourage you to do is to come back and we're going to all post some of those thoughts, those thought opportunities, those opportunities to transform our mind that we discovered. If you have any questions about this exercise, please post them in the comments. If you just have any comments about what I shared today, feel free to let me know. I will be interacting with you throughout our learning process, and I'm super excited to be on this journey with you. I see the power of this work and how it activates potential, and I'm excited that we're going to do this together. And please invite others. If you know someone who really needs to jump in and join our group, now's the time to get them in the door. We're going to be going through all kinds of learning together, but this Optimize Your Mind learning module is a very powerful one. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. We rise together, friends. Together we are more. And I am in this for life. In it for life with all of you, and excited for the journey that we have together.